Hi, I'm very pleased to introduce you to Nick Tabone, a partner and private equity lead at Deloitte. Nick,
thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Pleasure. So let's dive right in. What is your perception of the Luxembourg startup ecosystem?
So Jerome, I've been in Luxembourg for the last 20 years, and I think there has definitely been a significant evolution from 20 years ago in Luxembourg in terms of startups and the facility to set up companies here. However, we hear about a lot of things, a lot of startups being present, but we don't really see them in action. And I think that's something that we should or need to change because I don't think today we can compare Luxembourg to Silicon Valley across the ocean.
Do you think it's a lack of visibility or?
I think there is a lack of visibility, yes, in that respect, because again, if you work in the financial sector, you do see some portfolio companies as part of venture capital funds that you are working with, but that's it. So unless you're part of that ecosystem, and yes, there are quite a few people, but unless you are directly involved, it's very difficult to see how big this ecosystem is.
So it's probably also a question of critical size, and we don't have enough volume, right? I would think that absolutely is the case, that we need a lot more, probably, 3 times more, as many startups as we have today, in order to have that big pool of startups that would make a lot more noise than we are doing today. Yeah.
Correct, and I think if everyone asks, okay, which is the startup city or in Europe, probably Berlin is top of the list and it comes to your mind straight away, whereas Luxembourg is not that easy to see.
That's it. Indeed. And so, Nick, how do you see the future evolving, or already now, what are the opportunities that could be seized by startups?
So I think in Luxembourg we see a lot of tech startups, and I think if you associate tech with AI or Gen AI, as we've seen in the last 3 years, there's a huge role for them to play in that respect. I think Gen AI is something that's going to take over processes, change the way we do things. As fast as people are saying, who knows? I mean, we don't have the crystal ball over there, but definitely it is something to look out for, and the startups definitely have a huge role to play in that respect.
Especially in the financial services center, right?
Definitely. There's a lot of things that can be automated and made easy to use.
I mean, it's like, I don't know, among your clients in the fund services industry or the fund industry, they're pretty much all operating based on Excel, right?
More or less. And, Excel is still the mecca for fund reporting, etc.
Which it's an amazing tool, that's for sure. But then probably there's a lot that can be automated that's not being automated today. We can see that already with the likes of Nextgate Tech, who we invested in. But that company is not alone. There's many XLX and others, many homegrown other successful startups in the space here. And how do you see, let's say, your role at Deloitte in this transformation? And do you need those startups, or do those startups need you as well? What's the relationship?
I think it's a mix of both. We both need each other. I don't think either or can go down the route on their own. So partnerships, alliances, and we do have quite a few alliances with these large tech players, NVIDIA, just to name one of them. So we do work and partner with them. And again, is it going to reduce jobs, change the way we work? Definitely, but I believe there are so many new jobs that are going to be created that we don't even know about today.
Absolutely. And I concur with you on your analysis that there's a collaboration is absolutely of the essence. Startups typically are very small, so they can't serve customers with process integration, re-engineering of those processes, and they typically rely on firms like yours in order to facilitate that and make sure that those projects are successful. Very important collaboration there. Now, in terms of the future, what do you think could be done, should be done here in Luxembourg to bolster that startup ecosystem and support it more?
I think visibility, and apart from visibility, I think incentives to professionals to invest in these startups, because again, when you're a startup, you're not only small, but you're lacking finance and lacking capital to carry on and invest. So possibly incentives in that respect will help. that going forward. And I think one of the problems that we've seen as well is for those startups to retain people working with them. Abroad, you hear about startups having a direct investment via stock options, etc. And I think that is something that is missing probably in the culture of the Luxembourg financial system.
Completely agree. This is something we've been asking for many years. That's available across the whole European countries, and but we don't have any really good system here in Luxembourg. So I do hope that this is going to change in the future.
And when you invest in these portfolio companies, you do see owners choosing location based on that as well, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. And sometimes they, foreign founders don't want to come here because they see that they're going to have a problem hiring, talented people because we don't have such a system in place. So this is clearly a handicap that we have. What else do you see that should be done, could be done in order to help?
Celebrate champions, probably. I think there are loads of startups that have been created in Luxembourg and have been very successful, exited, sold multiple times, some of them. But unless you're close or working with those startups, you don't really know. So I think a bit of marketing, a bit of buzz will help as well the Luxembourg ecosystem in attracting more.
Yeah, in terms of culture, we certainly are probably a little bit too conservative, and we should definitely celebrate more the big successes that we've had and that we are building today. The likes of Salonki that many in the ecosystem know, but outside of the ecosystem, not many people know how much it is a success. There's Tabone, of course, everybody's been talking about that in recent months. Not many people knew how big this success story was. Also completely born here in Luxembourg, but there's the like of G-Core and others. From my perspective, there's also this missing element in the supply chain, so to say, which is we have seed capital. We would benefit definitely from more pre-seed or seed or angel investing, as you pointed out, thanks to tax incentives for investors. But we don't have much, if at all, any scale-up financing. So companies in our portfolio like Salonki, Passbol, Marketleap, Nextgate Tech, all had to attract foreign investment too early in their development in order to raise sufficient Series A or Series B capital. And that is unfortunate. Of course, you need to let them go abroad and raise money from the outside. It's a very good thing to do, but not necessarily that early in their development stage. And so I do hope that we find this solution soon enough.
I think we have all the right ingredients here. It's just a matter of putting them together.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Nick.
Thank you. Pleasure.
And
nice for inviting me.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's been a pleasure too.
Thank you.